The highway ended in white, tires sank. We turned toward a narrow track as the storm took sound and sky and wrapped everything in a single color. Headlights found a cabin silhouette through teeth of wind. We laughed to cover fatigue, unloaded bags, stepped over drifts as dusk sealed the world outside. Inside smelled like wood and old wool. A kettle clattered, the stove took, and windows fogged as our boots left damp imprints on the floorboards. Outside, the wind found rhythm against eaves and glass. We closed shutters, drew curtains, then listened, more out of habit than fear, while the storm rode itself around us. We set candles, poured tea, and pretended the night was ordinary. The storm made everything softer but heavier, like a blanket that keeps both warmth and something else in. We spoke of trivial things until the conversation thinned. Outside, the night grew denser. A distant branch tapped a slow, deliberate rhythm against the roof. At first I thought it was wind, a long, low groan rolling through rafters, like the house settling deeper into winter's hold. Then came a softer sound, irregular, like someone patting snow, careful steps muffled by the storm. We paused mid-breath and waited for a repeat. Silence answered. We joked, then stopped. The house seemed to be listening with us, creaks lengthening into phrases we couldn't parse but understood as attention. A faint scraping traced the outer wall, then a soft knock, not enough to rattle hinges but precise, deliberate, like fingers testing rules of distance. I stood and listened to the stove tick down. The group held its breath with me. Someone whispered, "Did you hear that?" And the words seemed fragile in the room. We opened the door for a sliver and found only a wall of white and the suggestion of movement in the trees. Nothing clear enough to name. We bolted the door and drew curtains. Even with precautions, the sounds continued as if some patients outside had decided to study the building before speaking. A rhythm formed, small impacts spaced apart, then a sliding whisper like snow moving across the porch. Each sound landed like a question we could not answer. My hands shook while I refilled the lantern. My voice felt distant when I told them it was probably a branch, but the sound's timing refused that comfort. One of us moved to peer through the peephole. For a moment, a shadow separated from the trees, then slid back into the storm like a thought erased. We tried laughter again. It came thinner. The wind began to sound less like weather and more like something learning to imitate footsteps, patient and slow. At one point, there was a small, distinct noise, like two stones tapped together, then silence so complete it felt like a held breath in the room. Around midnight, fed up with guessing, we wrapped coats and set one small light outside. The storm slapped at us like an animal startled by our noise. Footprints behind us were rapidly filled by snow. Ahead, tracks circled the cabin, shallow and oddly precise, not smudged by wind as we expected. We shone the light at the tree line. Movement answered distant, deliberate. It wasn't human gait, at least not one we recognized. It kept a patient distance. One of us called out, and the sound swallowed the word immediately. The reply, if there was one, was a series of soft impacts farther away, arranged like punctuation. We edged around the porch and found small piles of snow cleared in careful arcs, nothing obvious left behind, no prints larger than the stroke of a twig. Nerves frayed, we retreated. Inside, we locked the door and listened to snow compressing around the walls. Someone whispered we should stay awake, just in case. We took turns trying to rest. Every small noise made us start and recount its shape in our heads. The storm remained an attentive audience outside. Around 3, a sound scraped along the kitchen wall as if someone were tracing a line with a fingernail. We froze and listened to the building hold its breath. One of us whispered, maybe an animal, but the timing didn't fit. The sounds were deliberate, patient, a slow conversation from just beyond the glass. We imagined explanations, a lost fox, branches, a neighbor. Each theory narrowed until nothing fit. The unknown place outside became larger simply because we could not name it. By first light, the wind died. The air felt cleaner and heavier at once. We opened the door and found no tracks leading away, only a single small disturbance near the porch. We packed and left when roads opened, carrying more silence than answers. The storm had compressed the night into an experience that wouldn't resolve, and the question remained with us.